Hello peeps and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and today we're going to be taking a look at URX Sports Nutrition Pre-Workout Bombshell, or URX we shall call them, but we're going to be covering the usual. So taste, the price, the label, the effects. Is it going to be the next one you pick up? Oh, and I should also mention we have Metabody Subs to thank for sending this down for review. So is it going to be something you're going to be interested in? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to continue watching, isn't it? And actually on that subject, me and Aaron were just wondering, like, where do you go to watch our YouTube videos? Do you watch them on your phone, your tablet, your TV? Let us know, I'd be interested to know. And we also want to know, how did you find our channel? What's your favourite thing about our channel? Let us know, we're really curious. You know, hundreds of you guys watch our videos. Let's get to know each other a little bit more, because we always feel like you know us a lot more than we know you. So tell us some personal stuff. What do you do for work? Come on, just drop it all below. Let's get to know each other. The first segment, as I'm sure you guys know by now, is that taste and mixability, and it only comes in the one flavour that I can see, and that's Fruit Punch Blast. So let's see how it tastes. So a rounded scoop gets you that serving size, so I've whacked it and given it a stir, let it settle for a couple of seconds. There's some little bits at the bottom, you know, we pretty much see this in all pre-workouts, so it's nothing to cry about. It looks alright. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, it's quite opaque looking, it's pinky. Let's see how it tastes. Yeah, it's a good one. It is a good one. It's like a sweet, soury tasting fruit punch. Who'd have guessed it? But like with more of a candy essence to it. I wouldn't say it's a boring like BSN NO Explode style fruit punch, for example. It's definitely got a bit more to it. So yeah, I mean, I definitely can't complain with it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So how much are you going to be paying to pick this up? Well, you'll head over to metabodysubs.co.uk, where you can use our discount code INSTA7. Will knock off 7% of anything on the website. So it's a good start, right? So that will knock the price of this tub down to £30.68p, or only £1.02p a go, because it is actually a 30 serving tub, which, as you know by now, always gets a big thumbs up from us. And on our consistent price scale, it actually comes to a 7 out of 10. So priced better than your average pre-workout by a decent margin as well, actually. And when we get into the label, you're going to see that it does pack quite a punch. So you could argue the bang for buck is pretty good, but no spoilers just yet. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's tear through this label then. So 11 grams is the serving amount. We've got beta alanine up first, 3.2 grams, the amount we look for. That's going to help with the endurance and it builds up in your system, but it's obviously famously known for the itchy, tingly sensation it gives you. So we'll have to see how that kicks in. Then we've got L-arginine, which it looks like they've gone for that rather than L-citrulline, which is the precursor to L-arginine. They've gone for 2.5 grams here, which is an okay dose of L-arginine, but it doesn't work as effectively as L-citrulline, but it should try to boost up nitric oxide levels in the bloodstream, helping with the blood flow in the pumps. Will it? Maybe a little bit, but just like I said, just got nothing on L-citrulline, so I would have liked to have seen L-citrulline. And then we move down to agmatine sulfate at 500 milligrams. Normally like to see at least a gram of this, but 500 will still do something. That helps again to boost up nitric oxide levels for a different pathway. Helps generally to help pumps last longer. It does have some nootropic benefits as well, so we'll just have to see, you know, see how it comes together from a pump standpoint in real world effects. Then we've got caffeine, interestingly not caffeine anhydrous, 350 milligrams, about the average you see actually, about 3.5 cups of coffee. It's that main stimulant that's going to tell your brain to wake up, tell you no, you're not tired, you're going to go to the gym. So we'll see how that slaps. Then we've got 2-amino-6, which is DMHA, as I'm sure you guys know, 200 milligrams, not a dose to be sniffed at. Probably maybe a bit more than you generally see today. If you know, I know DMHA is a dying breed, but when you do see it, it's generally between 1 and 200, sometimes 300 in extreme circumstances. So that's that illicit grey area stimulant that can induce high amounts of drive and energy and euphoria. So will it in this pre-workout? We'll get into that, won't we? Then we've got L-theanine at 150 milligrams, which is a substantial dose, but at the same time not ridiculous. That's that amino acid that smooths over stimulants, tunnels it all in, helps with the focus, anti-jitters, anti-crash. So we'll have to see how that ties in. Then we've got theobromine, 100 milligrams, which is that ingredient in chocolate that dogs cannot digest. Bit of a tongue twister there. That's going to help with a bit of blood flow a bit of stimulation, and a little bit of energy. So and some feel-good factor as well, hence why you feel good when you're eating chocolate. Then we've got theophylline, 35 milligrams, which is that ingredient that is meant to help with your breathing. It's meant to help with oxygen uptake, but when it's paired with stimulants, especially alpha-himbine, it can paradoxically actually have an opposite effect and actually affect your breathing in a negative way. And me and Aaron have seen this many times. Just to name a couple of pre-workouts, I believe Edge of Insanity is quite an obvious one to name, and I'm sure there's been at least a couple of others, but it's one that does scare us from that breathing element. So we'll have to see how it comes together. It's something you normally feel because it gets you like that sort of thing. So yeah, we'll have to see. Then we've got isopropanol synephrine, 20 milligrams, which is the more potent version of synephrine, which is a fat burner, and it's going to obviously give you energy as a result of the fat burning element. So you get a bit of heating from this as well. And then wrapping off, we have got that feed ingredient alpha-himbine at 3 milligrams, which is a pretty heavy dose, not the highest we've seen, but by no means a low dose of the ingredient. And that's, again, it's going to help with the fat burning element, stimulation, high energy drive. It's going to feel like something slapped you around the face. You're definitely going to feel that ingredient in a pre-workout at that bloody dose. And yeah, it is an interesting label in terms of what they've opted for at what dosages. How will it come together in real world effects? Is it going to slap? Is it going to flop? Let's get into it. Okay, so real world effects with pre-workout Bombshell. So I'll just get straight to the point. This slaps, and it slaps hard, and it's consistent. I've used it a few times now, so has Aaron, and it's hit the same every time. So it's not one of those ones that might hit you hard one day and then not at all the next. And I think after looking at the label, we can sort of see why it might slap. A few of those ingredients in there are playing no games whatsoever, namely the alpha-yo, the theophylline, and the DMHA. Obviously the caffeine's the backbone of it, but I think that all of those things in there are basically really driving the knife into you from a stimulation standpoint. So it's not one that you're going to be like, can I feel it? You'll definitely feel it. The beta-alanine though kicks in averagely. Interestingly, I wouldn't say it hits like a 3.2 gram dose normally would. I'd still say above average though, like maybe a 6 out of 10 on the tingle scale. So yeah, I mean, if you don't like beta-alanine, you might just about be able to survive it. But if you do like beta-alanine, then you might be a bit gutted that it doesn't kick in stronger. But I think it's one of those scenarios where the pre is so strong, there's so much going on that you don't necessarily focus on the beta-alanine, because that theophylline, the alpha-yo and all that, the caffeine, they all hit relatively fast within like 10-20 minutes, so they kind of overshadow the beta-alanine and you're like, so the sense of urgency is very much peaking on this product. Let's talk about the individual factors we look at. So energy, focus and pumps. I'll start with a boring bit, the pumps, the bit that you're not necessarily buying this for, even though it does actually claim it on the front. In fact, here's what it claims. It says tunnel vision, mind-blowing pumps, skin splitting vascularity, lactic acid incinerating blend, which is interesting. I'm guessing they're talking about the beta-alanine there. So yeah, onto the pumps. They were actually surprisingly good, but I think, again, it's one of those ones where it's getting you training so freaking hard that you are just working up the pumps on your own. So is it the ingredients or is it your work ethic? I would lean more towards saying that it's your work ethic as a result of the stims slapping you. So the pump ingredients in there are probably just helping like a tiny bit, but it's the stims and you going berserk on the weights that's really doing it. So then let's move on to the energy, which I would say is very, very high. In fact, actually, let me double back to the pumps. I didn't tell you where I would rate them. So I would say they're, this is where it gets tricky, because like I said, from a label standpoint, the pumps should be bad, but they're actually good. So if I'm not looking at label and I'm just saying, okay, the pumps on this pre-workout are, I would say 7.5 out of 10. So surprisingly good, pushing 8 out of 10 even. And then we move on to, like I mentioned, the energy, which is a high slapping energy, long lasting energy at that as well. It lasts for a good few hours and it kicks in quick. There's no massive peaks and troughs necessarily. It hits you and it stays there. And then when the energy goes, the focus sort of lives on, but I will get onto that in a minute. So the energy is obviously being given to you mainly from the DMHA, isopropanol, synephrine, theophylline, all of the palaver that I've listed, and they're all coming together in a very aggressive way. So you do have that heart beating out of your chest, can't keep still, you know, want to get moving, want to get smashing the weights kind of feeling about it. And in doing that, it actually makes you want to yeet heavy weights around in the gym. So it probably would be good for one if you're going for PBs, because you're going to be so off your head. You're going to be like smashing your 1 rep max for 3 reps. Like, I hadn't shoulder pressed the 45 dumbbells in a good couple of months, and I just yeeted them up and bosh, 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 done them for a full set, no problem. So it is one of those ones that's gonna force you to really rinse yourself and potentially injure yourself. So be careful from that perspective. So anyway, the last point I want to talk about is the focus, and probably my favourite thing about it, because it gives you this really like, well, it says tunnel vision on the front, and I would say yes to a degree. You do get that sort of tuned in, really want to kill the weights feeling, but with like a side of highness / euphoria, but not extreme, not like, whoa, I'm on cloud 9, but it's definitely there. But I think that the high energy kind of overshadows any euphoria that it gives you. So it feels more energy driven than the euphoria, but the euphoria is still there, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, this pre-workout it surprised me. I mean, the label does look good, don't get me wrong, but because of the alpha yo dose, I was expecting not to like it. So it feels more like a 1.5 to 2 milligram alpha yo dose, in all honesty, so I could handle it. I didn't get any of the negatives of it, like the dribbly mouth. A small amount of jitters, but I do attribute that to some of the other stimulants as well, not just the alpha yo. And there is one main negative as well that I should tell you about, and it gives you a gorilla pee-pee, and by that I mean stim dick. So it will shrivel you up, so don't take this, go down the gym and then go home to your girlfriend or on a night out and think you're going to pull and you know, do the business, because it might not go down like that unless you have some Viagra in your back pocket, and even then you'd be up for a challenge. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject a little bit here. But yeah, overall I really do like this pre-workout. So does Aaron. It surprised us both. Definitely for stim junkies, not for beginners. I'll probably stick to using it 2 to 3 times maximondo a week. I slept okay on it in the times I used it, but I did allow like a 6-hour gap between me taking it and going to bed. So I definitely wouldn't take it within a few hours of bedtime. Hell no. But yeah, I think that covers everything. Other than that, let me know what you think of the product down in the comments section. Have you used it? Do you want to use it? Like I said, I really do think it's worth that price. It definitely slaps, and you will enjoy it if you're the sort of person that likes to get bitch slapped by pre-workouts. But anyway, guys, as always, stay stimmed.
Warrior.